Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining me for another exciting episode of Ladies Get Your Prance On. And today's guest is Anna Rohrbough, and she is a leadership and a life coach that is going to be sharing all sorts of wonderful tips with you today. And one of the reasons that I switched over to video is because I felt it's really important for you to get to know the real person, the inside, not just the voice. And so, Anna, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for having me. I love how you said my last name. It was perfect.
It was perfect. I get locked, when I get these interesting last names, I always love to know the story behind, like the heritage behind the name and how to pronounce the name. And so let's just jump right in. What does your last name, what does it mean?
I have no idea. I did not know you were going to ask that question. But let's just say it means standing in your power and believing in who you are. How about that?
Ooh,
I don't know for that.
I like that
Actually,
idea.
I do use, as we know before this call, how to say it. And I said, you say it like roar like a lion, bawl like a lamb. So actually I could say it kind of means the power of, the king of the pride, right? Owning your power, being the queen of your own castle. And also, but having that very soft underbelly as well, being able to be vulnerable and yourself. So I just came up with a new definition for my life.
I think that's really cool. I think that is really cool. That's one of the things I like about switching over to video is that it's going to be spontaneous. It's not going to be anything canned, or it's all natural. So first of all, I want to jump in because you recently went to Paraguay. And I'm so curious to understand why Paraguay, like why did you go to Paraguay and what did you learn from being in Paraguay?
Well, I am lucky enough to be mentored by John C. Maxwell, who's a number one New York bestselling author and the number one leadership guru in the world, not voted by somebody like me, but from people in the know. But I'm in an exclusive group, and there were 260 of us mentors that were got invited to go down to Paraguay to help them transform their country. We were invited by the president of the country there, with John Maxwell, and he was with us the entire time. And basically, I heard an opportunity last year, and they had gone to Guatemala a couple years before that, and it's basically about helping them transform their country. So Paraguay is voted the number one happiest country in the world.
Really?
But yet their per capita income for the year is less than $4,000. And 86% of their population, all of a sudden, I didn't know I was going to talk about Paraguay in quite these details, but 86% of their population is 55 years or younger. And because of their history, and I won't go into their history, but they don't have a lot of hope. Could you imagine if almost everybody in the population here was 55 years or younger? First of all, our political environment would be a lot different, probably a lot nicer. So that would be a good thing. So they're really what it is, kind of sad and happy at the same time, because they're really apathetic. They can't, the roads are a disaster. They throw trash on the street, and because they figure, no, oh well, big deal. And so the things they can't change, they just accept. And they decide to be happy. They decide to live their life with joy and happiness and find it anywhere they can, even playing in the sewers, in the, like no running water, that kind of thing. So it can go that bad. But so what we're there, so that's the good part, and the sad part is they're apathetic. So we were there to bring in hope and change. And basically what we did is train facilitators to teach these round tables about values. And I saw that we touched 260 people of us, touched 17,000 people. And what I learned, I know that you're probably going to ask me, but what it really brought to me is, gosh, how small our world is and how much of a difference we can make. I mean, it took me 24 hours to get to Paraguay, and I had to look it up for those of you that don't know where it is. I'd like to say I was that smart, but I had no idea where is Paraguay. And it's in the middle of South America. And to know that I can have an effect on people there. And I mean, I saw people transform within an hour of just creating that space and energy, and just simple things, just simple hope, simple values, attitudes. And, I had grown men in tears of running big, like the hospital administration, running all the hospitals for the whole country, right? In tears, and pointed at me and said, Anna, I cannot believe how much you changed my life, and how you're going to help me change when I go home today, how I treat my family. And one guy in particular was in tears, and he was saying, I know that I am the one that can change my relationship with my 26-year-old son. I was like, oh my gosh. So I think, we kept getting asked, like, why would you come here? Why would you come all the way here to help us? And I kept saying, because you're ready. And there's a lot of people in our country that aren't ready. And you're giving us so much back. I mean, I was completely transformed by going through that process. I'm way less fearless, or that's the wrong way. Way less fearful. I'm definitely more fearless. And I definitely know my purpose. So I could keep talking about it.
No, I have goosebumps all over my body when you were sharing with that, because we have no idea how much power we actually have in making the world a better place to live. So many people get caught up in going, well, who am I to change? How can I do that? And it makes me think back to Frank Shankwitz, who started the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Here he was, just a motorcycle cop that had this request from this young boy who just had days to live, who wanted to be a motorcycle cop like the TV show Chips. And that one action of helping that boy change his life, that look at what he's done today in the whole world. Everyone has heard of Make-A-Wish Foundation. And so you make a good point, Anna, of saying going down there, the whole reason that you went down there may not even be the whole reason what you came back with of what you walked away with. We never know what we'll walk away with and what we learn. So that's just beautiful.
Yeah, I love what you said about who am I, because I see this in my coaching, that it always comes down to, am I enough? It always does. And am I worthy enough? And who am I? And for me, in my journey, I just realized some stuff the last few years. I'm walking the path as I'm doing it and helping others through it too. But it really does come down to who am I? And who am I is, it doesn't have, now my dreams are even bigger than they were. But you don't have to have a huge, gigantic Oprah-sized dream. Your dream could be just to be happy and content where you're at. And that joy is going to change the world around you, which changes the energy in the world. I mean, in the entire world. So it's not about doing something big and huge. It's ordinary people doing extraordinary things in their daily lives that change the world. So it's ordinary people, plain, simple, ordinary people that are overweight, that are fluffy. I call them fluffy people, that don't wash their hair every day, that just resonate with joy and peace of those, and I'm picking on weight or something like that, because we all think we have to go out in the world and present a face. But when we go out in the world as we are, owning our own strength and our own power, I mean, that changes the world. That changes your life, and it changes the life around you, your neighbors, your family, everybody around you. So
yeah, the perception, it all starts with here. So what inspired you to go into this role as a leadership coach? What was the turning point? What inspired you to do that?
Well, I'm not sure how to get into that, except, I've been doing this for 3 years now. And when I was looking for a change 3 years ago, I kind of looked at the threads that connected my life. And leadership and empowerment were the two strongest threads. And when you start on a personal development journey, it is like going down a rabbit's hole, right? You got to be careful you come back out sometime. So I started that path of 4 or 5 years ago. And when I started looking at kind of the past and reflecting on it, I really found that I was a leader throughout my whole life, which I knew. But it was about being empowered myself and empowering other people. I didn't always have the words for that, right? And those words have come this last year, especially as I've gotten more more clear. So that took time. But really it all, as you know, it comes from how I was raised from my father. And so my dad was a very empowering person to me. And my aunt told me one time in my mid-20s, I was telling her that, I missed my dad because he always empowered women. And she looked at me, she said, no, he didn't. He didn't empower every woman. He empowered you because he saw something special in you and he brought out your strengths. And it blew my mind. I'm like, I was that special that he saw that. So my dad would tell me, growing up, high school, whatever, wherever it was, Anna, you can do anything. And, of course we have that a lot from our parents that we could do anything, but, he would see what I was doing he wasn't giving me false hope. He was seeing something in me. And what I realized years later, what I missed, and I'll tell you that story too, of why I keep saying I missed him, is this was a big thing that came in the last 3 years. It wasn't his belief in me that I saw in his eyes. It was my belief in myself reflected back from his eyes. He was so open to everything I was that he just reflected back my own belief in me. And when I came to that realization that I owned that, I was able to kind of let go the past 20 years, that I needed him here in order to take my own journey. In order to be my fearless self again, I needed to have him here present, in this physical world. So as you guys are probably realizing, I lost my dad suddenly, just day after I graduated from college from the University of Washington. And that was a really transformational period anyways in a person's life. But to lose somebody like that, and Lisa, I know you channeled him. We had a session one time and you were able to feel his energy.
I'm feeling it right now. I have to tell you,
that's so good.
Dad here right now too.
Yeah. So don't make me cry. But, knowing that.
Wait, I got to stop you on that. It's okay to cry.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with crying. I want to, we'll address it, but I want you to finish with your dad, please.
Yeah. So knowing that power, having that power, and knowing that it wasn't about him being here present, physically for me, that I always had that belief in myself already. And I realize that now because when I was in high school and college, I took lots of actions. I did really, really fantastically great things. And so I had faith in myself. And if you don't have faith in yourself, you don't take those actions. So I'd already proven it to myself. I just couldn't see it the last, 15 years more appropriately. And but you're right about crying because, after the first few years after he passed, so I was 22, then I got married. And I started making choices before I got married. I started making choices for other people because what I thought I should be doing, helping my mom run her business, do this, do that for other people, stay around my grandparents, all these decisions that were really not bad decisions, but they weren't my decisions. I was doing what I thought I should. And that's the one thing that women do. And we all have to take that journey. So it's not, and I judged myself a lot for it, but we all have to take the journey. And sometimes it lasts shorter for others and sometimes it lasts longer. So it's just, I've been able to find my voice again. I feel him much more around now than I have before. And about the crying is, I think for a good portion of the years there, especially after having kids, I was pushing away the emotion because I wanted to be okay. It'd been enough time to grieve that I wanted to be okay. So I kind of shut off the emotions and that doesn't serve us. That doesn't really serve us. So, but yeah. I'll let you ask me a question. I can go on and on about my dad.
I just love it. Talking about our families and our past and good memories, there are also some people who are watching today that don't have the good memories, perhaps of their father or of their mother. Do you find that in your business when you work with your clients and sharing with them how they can be leaders? Do you help them overcome that? Because, you and I, we were blessed to have, both of us have great dad memories, but there are some people who have, exact opposite. Do you address that when you work with your clients? I repeated that. Sorry.
No, I think that's great. I think there's a vulnerability that I bring to a coaching one-on-one situation or speaking as well, but that people do kind of open up sometimes, or they resonate before we start in a coaching relationship. It is not counseling, so we don't go back and like work back there, but we do have to sometimes go back to touch on it in order to move forward. But I think this is kind of a thread, or it kind of feels connected. So as you know, and I think that you're going to ask me about, is my TEDx speech I did last November. And there is a story there about my dad who did not come from a great background. And you'll hear the TEDx speech, but it was about my dad. I did not know this until just 5 years ago. So he had been passed for 15 years before I learned this story. He had been really abused throughout his entire childhood. And when I learned that, I had no idea, because all I ever saw my dad and my grandpa was love. That's all I saw. But then all the things made sense. Why he moved far away, why he enlisted in the Navy right away, why he didn't go back home for a few years. All that started to make sense. Yeah. But I realized the power of his belief in himself and what he knew was possible for his dreams. And so his passion, this might make me cry too, is I talk a lot about strengths, passion, and action. And his passion to provide a different life for his kids. I have 2 brothers and my mom, who has still the number one relationship that I've ever seen in my entire life. His passion drove him through. He didn't have a passion for what he did. He had a passion for what he did and the results that it created. And it was to have a different life, for us to create different opportunities for his kids and his family. And by doing that, he completely changed his past by creating his future that way, because he was able to recreate and rebuild a relationship with his parents and his brothers and sisters. And all I knew was this amazing love and laughter and resilience. So when I talk about my dad, not even just the story. I'm sorry, my dog might bark.
That's okay.
He sees a dog. Ozzy, no. The UPS truck is backing up the cul-de-sac in.
But now I want to see Ozzy. Where's Ozzy at?
He loves to eat people, or to eat. Not really. Come here, Bubby. He might pull. Did you see him? There's Ozzy.
Oh, he is so cute.
He is sort of. He has a great underbite. But anyways, my dad's story isn't just about me. It's about how he lived his life and that example that he set for everybody around him. So yeah, that's where I get my purpose is to empower people. And I realize it's deeper than that. And I know you're going to ask me about my wife, but here it is. You don't like the perfect interview person. But it's about empowering people. But the reason behind that is because I am at my best when I feel empowered. It brings me right back to that feeling of having my dad all around me, being present. And I am so empowered when I feel empowered. And so when that's my strength zone, when I'm in that passion zone, I know that I am touching people and I'm empowering other people. So it is about empowering other people, but I know I do it best when I'm empowered. So now I have a new filter of when I do workshops or things. If I feel empowered, and this sounds selfish, but if I feel empowered doing it, then I know I'm going to touch people's souls. And that's my why. That's my why.
But I want to share with what you just said. There's selfish and then there's selfish. And when you come from self and you share yourself with others, that good portion, that's what makes the world go round. That's what brings love together, because it starts with loving ourselves. I talk about mirror love all the time, and it starts within ourselves. And so, it's just beautiful that you shared that, Anna, because you're passionate and you want to share that passion with others, and being selfish about that, because that's you're being real with who you are, and that's who you're sharing with the world out there when you talk. And speaking of talk, I have to bring up the TEDx Talk, because there are so many people, one of their top bucket list is to do a TEDx Talk. That is like, so many people I know, that's their it's like, it's their main thing to do. So share with me what that was like for you, doing the TEDx Talk. Were you nervous? Were you scared before? Share with us.
Yeah. Of course, I was so nervous. Okay, so this is how quickly things happen when I'm just watching an eagle soar. So I'm sorry I got distracted, but You can almost see it too. Lisa and I don't live very far from each other. So I set an intention last January, so a year and 3 months ago, right? Or a year and 2, 3, whatever, that I wanted to start speaking some more. I was starting to feel strong in my own voice, and that's a whole nother story. But and I thought, I want to start speaking some more. And like, seriously, within 2 weeks, someone said, "Oh, will you speak at this? Some economic alliance, Snohomish County. Would you speak at this?" And so we scheduled that. And then I got the chamber asked me to speak, and it just started happening. And I was like, "Oh, this stuff is really happening." And I could lose myself in it. Like I lost myself in it. If I was kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to say, I could waste the whole day doing it. And I'd look up and my kids are home, and I'm like, "Oh, what happened? This was like the best day ever," right? And so I'm like, okay, so obviously that's something I need to do if I'm losing myself in it. And then through a couple of those speeches, I had connected. So one of my things last year was definitely to add value to the companies I wanted to get involved with, not specific companies, but like the organizations, like the Chamber and then the Economic Alliance and just other women organizations. And through that, someone had seen me speak and said, "I think that you would be great for this," and told me about the opportunity. And you know how the universe works. I had met one of the people like 6 months, and we had tried to get together. It didn't happen. But I emailed him and I said, he was one of the people pulling people in to speak. And I said, this guy said that I should contact you. He thinks that, you might need my voice. And so he immediately responded and said, "Absolutely. I just got the phone with him, and can we meet?" So we met, and I went there open, like, to that idea of what I had talked about before. And it was definitely a leadership bent. And he looked at me and he said, "Well, we're definitely going to be doing more of these, but I already have like 3 or 4 people talking about the similar things. And so maybe it's not the right time right now, but do you have another idea?" And I'm like, "Well, sure." And the day before, I'd met with another person, and she was talking about women inequality. And, she wanted to do some workshops on the inequality of pay for women and da-da-da-da. Something in my mind triggered when he asked me that. And I said, I really have this different belief that it's up to us. It's not what is happening on the outside anymore. It's what we believe as women that is showing up as being equal or unequal, that we as women have to let go of the past and believe in our own worth when we go to when we stand. And I understand what happens behind closed doors happen behind closed doors. But I said, it's up to us to take the risk now, because I don't think there's much more on the outside that can be done. Obviously there's more awareness and things like that. But I said, I have a different bent as a woman, thinking that we have to own our own power. And also that because we are more creative than men, that it is our right, totally. It is our right. It is our purpose to go out and do different things creatively. And that is one of our skills. And this is pushing us to go and be who we're supposed to be in the world, have to do a 8 to 6 job, And so it was kind of, he said, "Well, that kind of sounds interesting." That's all I had. I just had an idea. And so he said, "Can you expand on it?" So I sent a couple sentences, because I already asked him, "How do you want the proposal?" And he said, "I only want like 2 sentences. That's all I want." So that's all I worked on. I worked on 2 sentences. And it wasn't even what I said. Now it's all changed. And now you've heard the TEDx speech, so it's all different. It's really about letting the past be, and it's not really that different, but all about letting the past be in the past and believing in who you are and moving to your future. So there's 3 really distinct kind of pathways. One's my dad's story. One's my story at the end about being just a mom. And, and then there's a cute little story about my daughter. But, it started with a spark and an idea, and I just trusted it. You asked me if I had any fear. Come on. It's the first time I had spoken live to 700 people live, and I knew it was going to be there forever. And I knew over like a couple thousand people were live streaming it. So yes, I was freaking out, because January to November, I had done 6 speeches, I think. And, I had notes, love an outline, and we had to have it memorized. We had to have it down pat. And we had people helping us, guiding us through. But oh man, I was so scared. But one of the things that I teach on is that you don't get rid of fear. You don't resist fear. You let it settle when you focus your energy on building your faith, building your belief in yourself. When you can get your belief, if you have emotion from 1 to 10, and my fear was probably like at an 8, right?
Yep.
All along the whole process, I built up my belief and my faith. So my faith was at a 9. I knew I was going to do it. I knew I was, and I don't know, I had a knowingness at the end that I was going to be okay, but I was at a late 8 level of fear. So I still was scared shitless, but sorry, but the faith carried me through. So I think that's one thing I like to teach on, that, don't necessarily focus on the fear so much. Focus on what you need to bring, the stronger emotion you need to journey yourself through it. So that's a good lesson right there too, but you'll hear that in the speech. So to do a TEDx speech, you gotta just trust your own voice, get a spark of an idea that's different, a different tint to it, a different take on it, and go for it.
Absolutely. And for those of you that are watching, Ann and I, we both live in Washington State. We're actually in the same town, so I'm so excited. We're both in Mukilteo here, and we had this tremendous recent windstorm, and there's still some remnants. We can both look out our window towards the water and see the white caps out there.
Yeah.
But, I love that you came on today, and that you were real and to share with people, because women especially, and there are men who are prancing kittens too. We're not about excluding men at all. This is about women coming together and lifting each other up. And we do business different than men do. We want these relationships. We want to get to know people. And one of the things that I love about you is that when you meet somebody, you really want to meet and get to know them. You're not there to just sell to them, because if they're not the right fit for you, that's okay. I still want to be your friend. And that's one of the things that I really love about you. And so share a little bit about who your ideal client would be, because there are women entrepreneurs that are watching right now. So who's your ideal client for someone that would like to reach out and talk more and learn more about you?
Yeah, that's great. I hate like picking one, right? When I came back from Paraguay, I realized that this isn't going to resonate with your audience as much, but I realized that I was supposed to be working with men as well. And I had kind of excluded that part of me. And I show up really well against that energy. So, and I think that's kind of the action of it, and the people that can kind of let things roll off their back. Yeah. But what I really love about the idea of working with men in the future is they don't have connections like we do as women. So I see a need and I want to meet it. They don't have a group of people, especially when they're at a different level in their business, that they can connect to. We can call any of our friends and go, gosh, you won't believe, blah, 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 right? And we can connect and feel normal and human, and but men don't have that. So that's a new thing for me, but definitely women, empowering women. But it's really people who are ready to leverage their strengths. And so I help people really focus and get some clarity around what is their in particular unique strengths, right? What were they born with? And then we want to leverage those. We want to keep using those and figure out how to leverage those in your business. I realized the last few years when I started focusing on my strengths, which is unifying people, connecting with people, which you connected with, and influencing people, and empowering people. There's a lot. But when I really started focusing on that, it didn't matter what I did. It didn't matter if I was speaking or coaching or training. When I focus on my strengths, then I'm doing what I need to do for those people, right? I'm connecting with them. I'm serving them. So I think women who are ready to move forward, and it's not about acquiring, for me, it's not about acquiring or another system or another person telling you what to do. My coaching one-on-one is about being a powerful thinking partner for you. I'm not telling you what to do. At times, if you want to hear my advice, or I will ask you, is it okay if I give you my advice or what I think, or here's some new perspective? But it's all about what you already have inside of you. I believe that we all have the answers, and I'm here to help you, come alongside you and help pull those out with great questions, with the energy and building that space between us. And it's in that power space. It's not me that does it. It's something that kind of comes through me and connects with people. So you asked me who, I think people who are ready to use their strengths, ready to ignite their passions, to take action, take real action in their life. We all have this idea of where we want to go. And we all probably know how to get there, but a lot of us are still sitting in our chair, there's a little bit of fear there holding it. In fact, I was just talking to a colleague of mine this morning, and I said, I'm going to launch this new program, but I am scared. I'm scared. I need you to hold me accountable because I know I need to be held accountable in order to do this. So, I still move through it, but I know how to find the people, and she's my coach. I know how to find the people to help me move through my fears because they still, they're right back up there. So I think people that are ready for action, but in a very safe space. And, and I think my uniqueness is I'm able to be vulnerable, and definitely there's no judgment. I'm not attached to your outcome. One of my favorite clients that I work with, I tell her she can't really give a great testimonial because she hired me in her business to help her move forward. And she helped herself move so forward that she moved right out of her business because it wasn't what she was supposed to be doing. So we tease each other, and I say, well, you can't really tell people you're not making money now because of me. That doesn't really help my business.
No,
but
that's true.
but she's the happiest she's ever been. And now opportunities are flooding to her. So it's just a matter of what she wants to choose to go through next. So I guarantee she's going to be much better off than she was, a year ago financially. So, I had to turn that on really quick. So
just turn it around. One of the things that I've noticed, because we are both in the same community and we know a lot of the same, women entrepreneurs. And I personally know two women that have worked with you, and I see such a difference in having worked with you. And they would probably fall under the introvert category, even though we all have introvert, extrovert, but they fall more in the introverted category. And these two women in particular are just blossoming. They're like a flower that's just opening up, and they're blossoming, and they're showing up as who they are. That doesn't mean that they're more, hey, everybody look at me. No, but they're showing up and they're happy. And they're confident. It's that self-confidence that it's true. And,
okay, but you know why I'm crying? It's because, Lisa, it's because that's what my dad did for me.
Yeah.
I could just walk in a room when he was there, and I felt fearless and I felt empowered. And that's what I'm supposed to do for people. And so however it happens, it's in a speech, if it's in a course, if it's coaching one-on-one, which is probably the fastest way, that's exactly who I am. That's exactly how I want to show up in the world. So that just touched my heart that you said that. Thank you.
I'm telling you, I've seen the shift, and I don't know if they know it, but they must, because internally I see them differently. They carry themselves differently. They're more confident. They're more open. I see them walking up and engaging with more people. And in the past, they would be more quiet and, they'd be more shy. And I know that's because they worked with you. They both have told me they have, and what a difference you've made. And so that was one of the reasons why I wanted you to be one of the first people on my show, because I want to help women and men. And I'm so glad that you brought up that you're working with men, because I work with men too. The prancing kittens, it used to be only women. And then I thought, wait, if men want to support women, why can't they be there too? This is something that I'm shifting. I've changed my whole perception of that, because there are some great men that are in the prancing kitten community that want to help women, support them, and help them rise too. So I just think that's really good. What is your best contact for people to contact you? What's the best way for them to find you?
Well, email is always the best, or my website, but email is my first name, Anna, at AnnaRohrbough.com. So that's ROHRBOUGH.com. And so my website is www.AnnaRohrbough.com. And you can easily just click one of the links to email me there as well. I'm sure you'll probably put a link on it.
I'm going to. And your TEDx, yeah. You put a link to your TEDx talk too. So I'll have that there.
Perfect. Yeah. That is on my website too. So, and if you want to listen to it without that ugly commercial in the beginning, I hate those 10-second commercials, they put on it, but then you go to my website and does a commercial on it. So that works too. So yeah, I'm glad you said that about men again, because I realized one of my things is there's all these great men out there that want, I have a very great husband who empowers, 100% equal, empowers me. We're complete thinking partners and power partners. And they get kind of lost sometimes. And it's, up to us, I think, women, to help pull those men out. And so they have a bigger voice in the world. And that's how we change the world. That's how we change the dynamics between men and women in the workplace. So, yeah.
So a good thing for us to bring it up. Before I close the show, I'm also going to I've pulled a card before the show, because one of the things that I do is I was gifted these cards over 30 years ago and to do readings. And so the card that I pulled today is the 7 of Hearts. And this card is about new beginnings, which is kind of appropriate because the going in, marching, goes in as a lion and comes out as a lamb. That's what this card is about, new beginnings. And ask yourself today, when this card comes up, for those of you that are watching, what can you do today differently that's going to help you achieve the goals that you have for this year? We started off at the first of the year and everyone sets their yearly goals and their New Year's resolutions. And a lot of people, 95% of people after 3 weeks, they've stopped their resolutions. And so this card is suggesting for you to look at those resolutions, see where you're at, see what you need to do today to get started and get that jump start again. So that's my prancing kitten message for you today. Thank you, Anna, for joining me today, and I would love to have you back at some point, and we can deepen the conversation per se.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
If anybody on here, probably a lot of people have used you, but if anyone hasn't, I totally encourage them to have a reading with you, because I got to tell you, there's something. I emailed you, or I.
Oh, you're going to make me cry now.
Oh my God, it was so great. First of all, so many of the things that she said are coming true. But one of them was about my son making a team. So he's a freshman, just made varsity team. So that was the one you were talking about. Another one was the clarity that I'd have after an international trip I was going to take. Hello, just came back from Paraguay. And another one is a program that I'm working on with another person. Exactly what you said that was going to happen sometime this summer. And guess when it is? Well, it's happening at the end of March, or at the end of April. But everything that you said is coming true. So if you guys are on the fence or something, get on the phone with Lisa. She's absolutely fantastic and right on. And she channeled my dad, which she doesn't even do that. And so that was pretty priceless. So she can't guarantee a mediumship thing, but she can guarantee something in the future. So use her.
Thank you so much, and thank you for sharing. A lot of times loved ones do come through, but there's no guarantee because I have no control. I am not that powerful. But if somebody makes an appearance, then they make an appearance. So thank you so much. Thank you for that. I wasn't expecting that. I'm just like, But anyway, it's been absolutely wonderful. Thank you everybody for joining us, and we will be back next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, Lisa. Thank you. Bye, guys.